Hello, this is Jim Clune again, and I want to do Jim Clune again. This is Jim Clune again, continuing this whole discussion about how you have to deal with the reality of botnets in your organization as far as your computing environment is concerned. I left off on the last little talk talking about egress filtering, controlling what radiates outbound from your environment, and then I said I would talk about how you have to design the internal environment, the portion that you really care about, to accommodate the reality of botnets and malicious software being on potentially a large percentage of the mobile devices, laptops, that are in your enterprise. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I took a moment to draw a picture of your data center, possibly, emphasizing the attack surfaces, meaning the places against which your computing environment can be attacked. And that I can see, for most people, there's three of them, and it kind of looks, here it comes, like this. Boom, 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 boom. You've got your data center with three sides to it, essentially. Where your employees sit using the resources of the data center, where public users on the internet sit, potentially using your web servers if you provide them out of your data center, web services, and possibly private connections that your service partners, maybe your customers, have into your data center. Not the internet, frame relay, that kind of thing that's considered secure because it's not the internet, which is of course a bit of a joke, but we'll get into that in a later, possibly later. All right, so those are the three sides, the places where your data center resources can be touched and potentially compromised. What you have to do is assume that all three of those sides are potentially malicious. People don't think that way typically of their employees. They're perfectly used to thinking that way of the internet at this point. Most people will accept the fact that the internet is a hostile environment and there needs to be controls about how your internal resources are accessed over the internet. That's a given. People get that. That's why you probably have a home firewall, and why corporations do too. What's lost, I think, is the employee side of that picture. People don't realize at this point that even in a small organization, you're probably going to have at least one or two employees that are malicious or at least overly curious. And you certainly are going to have computers that they're bringing in and out, laptops that are on botnets, which means there's going to be a period of time in which there's computers inside your organization that are being controlled from the outside. The triangle is supposed to illustrate the fact that you have to defend against those hostile areas. You have to defend against your employees, because they may not just be your employees. They may be your employees bringing in Trojan, botneted computers that now are being controlled from somewhere else. What it means then is you can't allow your employees direct access to your internal data center resources. You can't. You have to assume that a portion of that environment is actively hostile and wants to hurt you, which means administration cannot occur. Administration of the servers and the other critical things inside your data center, they can't occur directly from laptop computers or even desktop computers that sit in normal cube space, desktop space, the places where employees come and go, right, where they drink their coffee, do their typing, that kind of thing in their cubicles. You cannot allow that space to have direct access to data center resources. What that means is you have to control, in a very limited way, the web presence that your data center provides to your employees. And for that subset of your employees who are administrators who have to actually logically get inside the data center and access servers, they can't do that directly from their desktop. They can't, for instance, bring up SSH or remote desktop or VNC or any one of a number of other mechanisms to get inside the data center. They can't do that directly from their desktop because their desktop may not be under their control. And if a computer's left running during the overnight, over the weekend, and it's on a botnet, that botneted computer will reach out to the internet. It'll be on the botnet. The controller of the botnet will be able to use that computer, and it's already captured all the logins and passwords, right, that your administrators are using, and control your data center from the desktop space that they have. Once they're in, they're going to compromise servers inside your data center. If you allow the servers inside your data center to go outbound to the internet without restriction, that's all they need. At that point, they haven't had a hack from the outside across the internet. They've taken advantage of the Trojan computer that your employee brought in, used your employee's access, which they now have because they've captured the logins and the login information and the password information via keystroke logger, and they're in. They compromise the server. They have administrative rights because your employee gave it to them by typing. They compromise the server in the data center. That server may have outbound access. They create an environment in which that access can be used whenever they want to control the servers. And at that point, all the stuff in your data center is lost. And you won't know it because everything in your data center will work. The worst that I can imagine happening as far as learning about it is concerned is extortion. Being told that if you don't do something, your computers are going to be shut down, your information is going to be destroyed. I suspect this happens, that this kind of extortion happens. But what's more likely to happen is nothing. You won't know that this has happened. You'll simply lose information. The information that your customers depend on, that your business depends on, will now be somebody else's as well. Maybe you'll survive that, maybe you won't. Maybe your customers won't be affected adversely. They probably will, because somebody who wants to profit from their access, their information, your service, now has all they need to learn about that, sell it to other people, make competitive products, possibly start using your data center as a mechanism for compromising customers' computers as they access your data center resources, if you're that kind of company. You can see where this would go. I was in a dental office not too long ago and found out that the computers inside the dentist's office all had outbound internet access, and were also some of them being used to access the internet by the employees who work there. So you can imagine where that's going to go. Easy enough to hack one of the employee computers and then, using that access, hack the diagnostic equipment that was also on the internet and start stealing dental records, right? That's simple. Your data center is the same way. If you don't protect critical resources like the diagnostic equipment in this small dental office from botted computers that are also in that same office, things are going to be over with and lost. So that's the whole idea, the triangle, right? Your employees on the bottom, internet on one side, private communication on the other. You have to protect against all those elements. This is a topic that needs more explanation and more discussion, so I'll probably continue this in another video. But the biggest thing I wanted to make clear is that you have to protect against your employees' botted computers being used as a vehicle for accessing your data center and, well, suborning the integrity of what you think might be a whole. Not anymore. All right. That's it. I will continue this with a little bit of how you can do this. What kind of technical resources can you use? What kind of mechanisms to create that buffer zone between your employees and the data center that they need to interact with from computers that are inherently suspect. That's it. I'll talk to you in a bit.